It's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk. I'm here in my IS-6 on Sand River on an assault map on the attacking side, bottom tier, although I am only one tier down based on it being a pref matchmaker tank. What we're going to talk about today, since we're on an assault map and we're on the attacking side, is how to push, how to find a weakness in the enemy's defenses, how to probe that weakness, and then eventually how to find a seam. We're going to call this one Find a Seam. And what I mean by that is finding that weak chink in their defense or armor, as you will, and then push into it and exploit it, and from there leverage that into a win on a map. So this will end up being an ace tanker in my IS-3, and we'll go ahead and get started showing you what I'm doing with my camera, and off we go. So let's talk a little bit about assault as we move forward. First thing you want to do, obviously, on any map or match is take a look at the enemy tanks and your tanks, and I'll give you guys a minute to look at it as we move forward and I talk about assault, but I want you to note one important thing, and so think about that as you go, and then we'll see if it's the same thing I note when I get there. So as we approach here to where the enemy will be on the assault map, we have to remember that it is only a 10-minute window to get this done on assault. A lot of people don't turn assault on. I like it. I like it because it teaches you more about the different maps, its variety. I enjoy the challenge of trying to get in there in 10 minutes. Probably this one is turned off more than others based on it being not enough time to farm damage for people who are really interested in their stats. Obviously some very good players have it on. It doesn't affect their stats at all, but one of the arguments for turning it off is that I have heard is that. And then the standard tropes of people don't know how to attack, or they don't know what defense is, or yada yada. So we'll move up here. And what is the thing that you noticed about, I'll miss that shot, about this matchup as far as matchmaker goes in the tanks? There is no arty. There is no arty. So immediately what you can tell, this game is actually more dynamic, I would venture to say. Look at these tanks right here that are more or less out in the open, coming up here and using this kind of cover of this hill, pushing forward to spot. These guys are forward. That 120 is an example. Virtually nobody would go there if there was already in the game. This guy's a little bit out in the open, this 103, and then we've got the guys back here. We have a bunch of our tanks climbing up the hill. This is virtually useless. I would appreciate really if nobody ever did this again. You will find that we'll get some shots from up here, but that's only if these guys down in the southeast move forward enough for the draw distance to matter here. Now that will matter a little bit in this match, and eventually they will move forward, but typically this is a fairly useless spot, and it certainly does not need 3 or 4 tanks to go there. Alright, that's enough of that. So what I've noted first is there are a lot of guys on that corridor. So we've got a lot of corridor maps. Why would I want to go stick my turret up over where that T10 is and play punchy face with a bunch of fairly heavily armored tanks? I don't. And I noticed that as I moved across here, especially as I came forward, that nobody showed up on this ramp over here. And that's one of the dangers. You'll notice as I came through here, I was looking this way with my turret, just in case I would see somebody poking up here. The T-54 has not proximity lit anybody, so I don't think there's anybody over here. And then counting noses, that's quite a few of their tanks. Add those two, and there's only about 5 tanks unaccounted for, maybe a couple less. So I immediately cross over, and I am looking for that weakness in their defense. And because I know the map, and because I understand how assault works, I realize that this little seam right here in their defenses can be very important. Now probably the biggest thing stopping me from doing it are the camper TDs that are sitting back on the back hill right there. In addition, you'll see that AC-48 and PTA up there can be a problem. However, once they are lit, they are extremely vulnerable. I should have prioritized the PTA. There was no reason to shoot that AC-48 in the face, even though I'm firing gold, highly angled armor, probably going to bounce nearly every time, so I decided let's try to get the PTA. And 2 pretty lucky RNG shots, really. I didn't get much zoom on either one of those, and I ended up hitting them both. Only one pinned. If I would have parlayed that into hitting the PTA twice, that would have been great. So now I'm starting to work this seam. I've pushed in between them. I'm a bit of a wedge in here, the oldest tool known to man. And I am trying to figure out a way from here to leverage this into causing them issues. And you can see that I now have the attention of the Type 61. He hits me, and that is the danger of this spot, obviously. If they are able to collapse in on you, they can take you out pretty quickly, but they're busy enough And based on their deployment, like I talked about earlier, I'm not actually that worried about getting pushed out of here anytime soon. You can see my friends have sort of figured this out. Look at this. The VK said, oh, that's a good idea. Why would I sit down there on the east flank and play punchy face with hold down guys, but I can move through this ravine and push up? And the T-32 said, that is a good idea. I'm going to do that also. And because I was up in there, the JT pushed forward. So now we have put a serious wedge, a serious dent into their defenses, and the Leopard PTA is going to die pretty quickly. And now I've got a choice. Do I want to move left and try to take them on? I considered diving down into this little area down here, but that's a near death sentence with that many tanks still there, so I'll just play it a little cagier. There's one of those guys that's camping. I'm missing him. He gets away. And rather than face him and get thumped by him, plus I can see that he's moving away, I'm going to dive down into this ravine and help clean up their defenders down in this ravine. Got the Type 61, the JT's moving in. Put the thump on him, and now we will clean up the Batchat. Because we were able to drive this wedge in, these two guys felt compelled to push out of their spots and try to take on the tanks that were coming in, which was the right idea. Unfortunately, they did let us get in there. The T-54 fell off the hill. That's the first time I noticed that. I've looked at this replay about 4 times. And we'll end up killing him. So this is pretty much cleanup on aisle 2. You can see exactly what I was talking about. I came through here. I noticed that there was nobody defending the ramp. They were all playing punchy face. I moved across the ravine. I found this seam in the defenses and was able to move up in here and start dealing out damage. We cleaned up the middle guys, and now it's just clean up on aisle 2. Make a mistake here. I wish I would have stopped right here to maybe... Oh, it's not true. It's not here. I miss him. It's a little bit later. I potentially have a shot on the JT. For some reason I keep driving here. If I had just stopped here, I may have had a better shot. And I ended up shooting into the ground. There's the WT up on the right. Soft target. Oh, hold on. What is this T-30 doing? WT's running off. So I didn't want to go up and over this dune with the WT sitting on the other side of it, but since he left, I feel fine in moving up on this guy. And the T-30's got plenty of depression here. I'm going to have to try to hit him in the side of the hole. What I'd really like to do is track him if I could, which I do not do. He backs up. And we're just cleaning these guys up. This is more tactical decision making right here, trying to use this. I know his reload is still going. I'll hit him one more time and track him. Unfortunately, he's not a one-shot. I really can't pop up over now because he is reloaded. And here he comes, so I'm just going to have to accept that I get one more shot. And maybe I can track him. No. No track. And I end up dying. Alright, so we'll end up winning this game. I found the seam, pushed my way into it, exploited that seam, put a wedge right through the enemy, and was able to help my team win. Came out with an ace tanker on the IS-6. I hope this helped.